So this is the International English Language Testing System held on March 4 at Rangpur in Rangpur. Candidate name is Sabir Hussain, candidate number 57032. And the examiner is me, which is over here, examiner number 20375. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon too.
Can I see your ID, please?
Yes, here it is.
Thank you. Here is your ID badge. Right, so in the past part of the IELTS speaking test, I would like to ask you some question about yourself. Is that okay?
Yes.
Where are you?
I'm from Tangai. It is one of the biggest districts under Dhaka division, which is 98 kilometers away from the center.
Right. Is it your hometown?
Yes, it is my hometown, and I love to stay there.
Do you like your hometown?
Yes, I like my hometown a lot. It's a good source of natural environment, which are surrounded by a big river called 𝐩𝐫𝐞𝐻.
Okay. And what other things Tangai can offer for the foreigners?
Well, it's a great source of tourism. At first, I mentioned that there are surroundings by a big river 𝐩𝐫𝐞𝐻, which is really for a good view for a boat journey. And there are other some sort of historical places where tourists or foreigners can visit, like there are Jamidar house, which is really well known, called 𝐻𝐫𝐻𝐿, and also some are old mosques, which are the represent of the ancient times.
Good. All right, and what about the traffic jam? Because the Dhaka city is completely congested with traffic. So what about Tangai?
Tangai is out of traffic jam because the transportation facilities are really good, and there are lots of ways and which are classified by their vehicles, like buses routes are different from the other auto vehicles, and footpaths are also available there.
Good. And okay, now let's talk about your occupation. What do you do?
I'm a full-time student right now.
What do you study?
At this moment, I'm a master's level student under the Department of Agricultural Extension at Haji Muhammad Danish Science and Technology University, Dinajpur.
Very good. And so do you like your subject, studying agriculture?
I love my subject. It's really an interesting subject for study.
Good. And what one thing you would change if you could about your subject?
Well, if I have a chance to change my subject, then I prefer to go for engineering, because it also an interesting part, which have lots of practical knowledges involved, and it also initiates a person to be more interesting to study.
Right. And so what is your future plan about your subject? Do you want to have a PhD degree on that?
Yes, I have a long vision that after my master's degree, I go abroad for a PhD degree.
But your PhD degree on agriculture can benefit to the people of Bangladesh.
As we know, Bangladesh is based on agriculture. So if I get a PhD, I do lots of development works, and also I can make up the SDG goals like no hunger, poverty, and also clean climate, and etc.
Right, and finally in the IELTS speaking test part 1, let me ask you about music. Do you like to listen to music?
Sometimes I like to listen music, but I'm not that much like with that.
Good. Do you know how to swim?
Yes, I know how to swim well. In my childhood, I loved to swim in my pond.
Thank you very much, and that is the end of your IELTS speaking test part 1. Now, in part 2, I would like you to talk on the topic about 1 to 2 minutes. And you have 1 minute to plan your answer. So here is a piece of paper and a pen, and here is your topic card. I want you to talk about your book you have recently read. Right, can we start now?
Thank you for giving me such a topic which really favorable for me. Now I like to talk about the book which I recently read. The name of the book is 𝐷𝗵𝐻, which is written by a famous writer, Dan Brown. Actually, this is a thriller-based book. When anybody started to read the book, they find that there is a hero called Robert Landon who are trying to find the unknown, and which have so much obstacles, especially the geographical obstacles, political obstacles, and some sorts of bad people who try to stop them to know the unknown. But at the end of the journey, they find the result and they got what they are searching for. The book is really good and interesting because when I read the book, I know some international issues which are really unknown to an individual, like the geopolitics, where one of the great names I found that Vatican City, which has a great importance in the religion, and also some other things like Newton, who is a great scientist in ancient time, whose achievements and which inventions are now also popular. After that, I got another famous name is Albert Einstein, who is famous for his theories, and also got some sort of new words which I don't know and some new knowledges about that, which is really good and encouraged me to learn more about the books which are written by Dan Brown, because they are famous for thriller books. And after that, I search in the internet and find that they have some other books which are related to the 𝐷𝗵𝐻 code, like Angels and Demons, The Lost Symbol, Inferno, and etc. Thank you.
Thank you very much for talking on the topic. So may I get back the pen and paper, please? Thank you. Right, so that is the end of your IELTS speaking test, part 2. In part 3, let me ask you some question about the topic you talk. Or I might ask you some question not related to the topic. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of books do you like?
Basically, I'm a book lover, so my taste is varied on my mood, but most of the time I like thriller books which have encouraged me to know the unknown and also see what's happening next and try to know the secrets what are inside the books. And sometimes when I have no options, I also feel right to read some non-fictions or documentary also.
Good. And what about your friends? What kind of books do your friends like?
I have a group of friends which are also like me, and we have a group who love to read books. We started a book when we reading, then after that we discuss with our friends about the books, what we can understand and what will be the next step to doing with the books. And we get any discussion after conclusion, also have to read the next series if everyone like that book.
What is the latest fiction you have read?
The latest fiction I have read is that the Inferno, which is also written by Dan Brown. It's a moment where we read the book, we find that the heaven and hell's differentiation, and also if we do good work you go to the heaven, or if you do the bad work you go to the hell. And in the hell, what type of punishment you have to face for your bad works, and also how to get rid of that bad works.
Right, but what drove you to read that book?
Basically, the book was prepared one of my friends, and also as I mentioned in part 2 that I have an affection with Dan Brown's book, so that will help me to read the book and encourage to read.
Right, and what about other people in your community? Do they usually read books these days?
In these days, they are busy at this moment, so other people get not enough time for reading books. But when, as we know, there are recent times a pandemic gone, that time everyone is spend their time by reading books.
Okay, and what do you think? Reading book is important in our lives?
Yes, I strongly believe that a book is a source of knowledge. So if anyone reads a book, they get a huge amount of knowledge at a time. So in daily life, I wish to read every day at least 10 pages of books, and I suggest everyone to try this practice, which helps them to know the unknown and gather more knowledge about their own, about country, or about the world.
Right, and so what do you do with your finished books?
After finish the book, I give it to one of my friends so that he can also read, and after that we can discuss over the books.
Good, that's great. And what about the damaged book? What people usually do in your country with the damaged books?
Damaged books are always trying to be restored by some people who are their jobs to restoring or regathering the books or reprinted the books. I know a person who are good with that, who always helps me when one of my books got damaged.
Yeah, and finally, where do you and people in your community go to buy books?
There are lots of shops which are famous for our buying books, especially that 𝐁𝐴 is our country, one of the famous places we are popular for books. I usually go to that places where I get time, but usually at right moment I prefer to buy books online. I think our community also used with that, because if you buy something on online, you not get to go there for receiving, because the product is at your doorstep.
So you don't need to go to the bookstores directly these days?
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, and that is the end of your IELTS speaking test.